Just a few notes. So today was, obviously more of a red zone emphasis. We'll come back and get it again when we start up Monday. These guys will be off tomorrow. Any questions?
Coach, what'd you learn this week about your team?
Well, it's 1 week in. We're in the on-ramp program. We're not truly in pads yet. I like the energy. I like where we're at assignment-wise, as far as, grading mental errors. But I think it's real early. Go ahead. Yeah, no, listen, he's going to be probably a week to 2 weeks with a hamstring, and we're just going to be smart with his recovery. So, he's someone that, he'll attack the rehab real quick. But I think 2 weeks would be realistic.
So much of our job is to microanalyze every throw, touchdown, interception. For us, those things are big, but for you as a coach, when a player does throw a pick or has a turnover, how do you go through your evaluation without getting too ahead of it?
Yeah, you factor it all in. You look at it. You look at the positive plays. You look at the, the minus plays, all in preparation for when we get into pads and we get into game settings and so I'm sure you're talking about each one of these quarterbacks and we grade the decision. There's times at the line of scrimmage where they have two plays. Are we getting to the right play? Sometimes, plays covered. But each practice goes by with a lot of positive comments, a lot of constructive criticism, and that's why we're out here.
How are they doing grade-wise?
They're doing well. I think they're doing well. We don't have, a sum total, but, the rotation's been pretty consistent. I think that will begin to change a little bit as we get into the next week and a half, 2 weeks.
What are any particular ways that the red zone work challenges the decision-making?
Well, let's just talk. When you're in the red zone or tight red zone, there's less space. So scheme-wise, what you do offensively has to change a little bit. Generally, to be a good red zone team, you have to be able to run the ball pretty effectively. We were not a good tight red zone team a year ago inside the 10. So space is limited. The ability to run the football, and then obviously there's three things we preach all the time. When you enter the red zone, you're in a position where you're going to score points. So no minus plays, no turnovers, no exotic snap counts, nothing that can move you out of scoring position. But we had we had a 7-on-7 period, and we had 2 team periods that were all in the red zone today.
Back to what you said, how might the quarterback rotation potentially?
We'll let you know.
We'll go down to maybe 2 guys?
Yeah, we'll see. We'll see. But it's been, right now, we've kind of been in this pretty consistent pattern, and I think it's hard for that to stay the same throughout all of camp. That's all.
You talked about how players respond to a mistake. So Bo had a pick. I don't know if it was his fault he got baited, but it looked like he responded after that.
Yeah. Look, you're gonna have a mistake. You're gonna have a minus play, and the key is learning from it. We'll look at the film and then bouncing back.
At center, you had a rotation during OTAs. Luke's been working with the ones. What has distinguished you?
Well, he's been working with the ones, and we've actually been able to get Alex reps at center, but also at guard. So, there's no etched in stone right now at that position. There's competition, and we like it. I mean, we like the way both of those guys are playing. So that flexibility that Alex has shown a little bit at guard has been encouraging.
You didn't see much of Jonas Griffith last year before he suffered his
Yeah.
But what were the traits that you saw?
Well, I knew he was someone that, number one, played well in the kicking game. He ran well. I knew he was here constantly, so he's thought of as a very good teammate. The feedback from George and others before I got here was very good, very positive, and I'm anxious to work with him. It's a little similar to Tim. I kind of had some exposure, but not a lot. Most of it was those guys were in recovery and rehab. So it's good to have them out here.
Before you get a player, how do you evaluate that ability to bounce back? Is it tape? Is it for Bose?
Yeah, I think you take it all in consideration. Specifically, a quarterback, it's easier to do, but the same thing can apply to an offensive tackle. He might have a tough first quarter, give up 2 sacks. How does he play in the second quarter? How does he play in the finish of the game? Certainly at corner, those guys are going to have plays that are made against them, and how do they respond? So there's some positions that it's pretty apparent.
Coach, it looks like Caden Stearns is doing more out on the field today.
Yeah, so he's passed his physical in order to get back out on the field. Now we have to be real smart, and it'll be a process.
Coach, with the Pats going on Monday, what extra boost do you expect?
Well, it just changes. Yeah, I mean, the drills that we're able to do change. It becomes more physical, and you get a little bit closer to what they're actually going to be doing on game day.
What is the progress report on your quarterbacks after week 1?
Yeah, nothing to report right now. Those guys are working hard. They're competing, and I'm not going to give updates, daily updates, weekly updates. There'll be a time when you'll see the rotation begin to change in a certain way, and at some point, it'll clear itself up. But nothing to report right now.
What does Jennifer bring to the table that you
He's smart. I think he's got good versatility. There's traits you look for in a center. You look for guys that obviously are strong inside, handling pass rush, and then how are they at the second level? Oftentimes that player is able to combo and get up to a linebacker. Can they finish? And so he's someone that I think is pretty athletic and has a real good ability to get to his second level blocks.
What have you seen from Cody Martin so far?
He's smart. We have good competition there at that linebacker position. He played quite a bit last year. Really played more linebacker last year than at any other year in his career. He played a lot of special teams. So he's taking advantage of those reps. He plays with a real good intensity. And I just think the snaps with this defense and understanding it and learning it. But he is someone that is very, very competitive and smart.
Sean, in general, do you use the player off day to meet personnel-wise and then reset the depth chart? How do you
Yeah, good question. We'll do 2 things. We'll meet on personnel. We'll spend 2 hours discussing our players. Now, this first meeting tomorrow is coming after an on-ramp week, and then we'll shell out the next week's practice, and we'll basically practice plan all the way up to the next off day. And so it's personnel, and then it's the next week of practice, what we want to accomplish relative to our installation. Those are the 2 things that we'll do first.
Will you set rotations at all positions after that?
Yeah, we'll discuss how we want to, and that takes place kind of in the personnel meeting.
Sean, are you going to see Kenny Chesney tonight?
We'll see. We got so much going on. Now, interestingly enough, it falls where we have an off day, but it was good to have him out here. I said this to our team. I first met him in 2002. I told you guys that the other day. But, for someone like him, really call it mid to late 90s, and, here it is 2024, and he's playing in, he's not playing at Ball Arena. That's something, and that staying power for as long as he's done it. He loves football. Like he loves being around it, and so, but But what he does is very difficult, and that's why he's in here for 2 hours in the weight room, and that's why he's in there in the ice bath. That's why he's, I mean, it's not easy to do for as long as he's done it. And so it was good to have him out here practice.
Did John give you permission on the jersey? You gotta get us that.
Yeah, I think we're good.
Randy Gradishaw's been an icon around Denver for
Yeah.
decades. What do you think of the Orange Crush finally getting representation?
No, I think it's fantastic because as a kid growing up, you know, I made this comment. Defenses got nicknames back then. I don't know who was first. It doesn't matter. You had the Doomsday Defense. You had the Purple People Eaters. You had Orange Crush. I mean, I'm going to miss a number of them. Steel Curtain. There you go. And you know, those were earned. You know, with great players and with great coaching. We lost Coach Collier this year. I know he'd be real proud to see a player like Randy, you know, also our safety going in. You know, it's, I just remember, and I said this, you know, as kids, we collected the 7-Eleven Slurpee cups, and they had NFL players on them. And if you had 2 Gradishaws, you traded a Gradishaw for an Alan Page with somebody. And then your mom finally made you get rid of them because there were ants in your room from the Slurpees not being cleaned out. So that's what I remember. But I know how well regarded he was. We only got to see what was televised, 3 channels, so you didn't get to see, if you lived where I lived, Denver much. You know, you got to see whatever the 2 or 3 networks gave you, but extremely happy for him.
Sean, with a guy like Dulcich, how far into camp do you just want to see him get through the day, and at what point does your mind start going, okay, how do I want to use him in the regular season?
Yeah, I think all of that. I mean, I think there's steps, and each day we're seeing, you know, you're seeing a glimpse and you're seeing plays, and most importantly, I think for the player, you're seeing his confidence. And remember, I always use that term. You know, we can wish for confidence and think about it, but it's born out of demonstrated ability. So when he has a play that he makes, there's just an ounce more confidence he has that goes into the next practice to make a play similar to that. And, you know, you guys have all seen it happen. We watched it happen with a young running back last year, Jaleel, I think, against the 49ers, and he has a pretty good preseason game. Now his confidence level goes up, and that's really player growth. So you can't wish for that. It can't be false confidence. It's generally earned, and it's from accomplishing something. So I think we're seeing that with Greg.
Coach, since we're asking about Dulcich, it's been a couple days since we got a Lucas Cole update.
He's doing well. And I say this, they're similar type traits. They're longer, receiving type tight ends that can run. Different, but they do similar things well. And I'm glad we have him as well. All right, thank you guys.